showed them the film and they wrote, we got a lovely letter off Ringo and off Olivia, George's widow.
Danny Boyle doesn't whisper. He screams in color, in chaos.
You have a responsibility to push the envelope as far as you can go.
In pure adrenaline that burns through the screen and doesn't let go. From heroin dens to zombie wastelands, from Mumbai slums to Beatles fantasies, Boyle has spent 30 years making films that refuse to sit still, films that pulse, films that bleed, films that grab you and don't apologize. But here's the real secret. Behind every explosion, every perfectly timed cut, every moment of controlled madness, there's a face, an actor Boyle trusted to carry his vision without breaking. He doesn't cast for fame. He doesn't care about red carpets or Instagram followers. He looks for something deeper, something raw. He finds actors who aren't afraid to fail spectacularly, who don't need safety nets or second takes to feel real. Over 3 decades, hundreds have stepped into his chaos, but only 10 became essential. 10 who didn't just survive his intensity. They matched it, amplified it, became part of his heartbeat. Some worked with him once and left a scar. Others kept coming back, unable to stay away from the fire. Here are the 10 actors Danny Boyle holds closest, the ones who gave him everything, the ones who burned brightest in his frame. 10. Kelly Macdonald. Kelly Macdonald wasn't an actress. She was a barmaid. Danny Boyle found her serving drinks in Glasgow and saw something the cameras would love.
Difficult to, it's one of the things weirdly that the film's about, is about trying to express emotions.
No training, no experience. Just a face that felt real and a voice that could cut through the noise.
Well, I'll come back with you if you like, but I'm not promising anything,
Do you find that this approach usually works? Or let me guess, you've never...
He cast her in Trainspotting as Diane, the schoolgirl who sees through Renton's lies. It was a gamble. She had never been on a film set before. MacDonald showed up terrified and did it anyway. No acting classes to fall back on, no technique to hide behind, just instinct. And somehow that made her perfect. She brought in honesty-trained actors, spent years trying to recover. Boyle watched her work and knew he'd made the right call. She wasn't pretending to be Diane. She just was. Years later, MacDonald became a respected actress with a real career, but it started in a Glasgow bar with a director willing to bet on a complete unknown. That's Boyle's gift, seeing potential where others see risk, finding truth where others see amateur hour. No experience, no fear, just raw presence. That's all he ever needed. 9. Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg was known for laughs, Space, Shaun of the Dead, pure comedy gold. But Danny Boyle saw past the punchlines.
There are many people who would testify to great devotion to him and to huge inspiration that they gained from him.
He cast Pegg in Millions, a children's film about morality, greed, and innocence.
Don't you want to cuddle? Listen, I'm serious, I've just come out of a relationship.
It wasn't a comedy role. It required warmth, depth, and the ability to anchor a story about what money does to the soul. Pegg delivered something most people didn't know he had. Boyle doesn't cast actors for what they've done. He cast them for what they could do. Pegg brought a gentleness to Millions that surprised everyone. He played a father trying to do right in a world that makes it hard. No jokes, no winks at the camera, just honest emotion. Boyle watched him work and saw an actor, not just a comedian. It was a small role in Boyle's filmography, but it mattered. Pegg showed he could handle more than timing and wit. He could handle the heart. And Boyle never forgets actors who surprise him. Comedy is timing, so is heartbreak. Pegg proved he knew both. And that's why Boyle trusted him with something real. 8. Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson walked into trance and became a puzzle Danny Boyle couldn't solve.
I hope it'll be good fun for them. The problem with filming is that it's a bit, in the end, when you get down to it.
She played Elizabeth, a hypnotherapist with secrets buried under secrets. Seductive and dangerous, vulnerable and calculating. The kind of character who could break a man or save him, and you'd never know which until it was too late. Dawson made every scene feel like walking on glass. Boyle needed someone who could hold contradictions without flinching. Dawson gave him that and more. She brought a stillness that felt loaded, like a gun no one knew was there. Every look meant something. Every word had layers. She didn't play a woman. She played a trap disguised as salvation. And Boyle filmed every second like he was watching something rare. 7. Naomi Harris. When Danny Boyle cast Naomi Harris in 28 Days Later, she wasn't a star. She was an actress willing to become something fierce.
It's quite famous now in a way that kind of like haunts you. So if you ever have running in a movie...
Selena wasn't just a survivor. She was surviving by herself.
Not enough excitement in East Ethel.
I've been reassigned. Temporary suspension from fieldwork.
Hard as steel, soft as hope. A woman who could kill without hesitation and still choose to save a stranger. Harris made her unforgettable. Boyle needed someone who could carry violence and vulnerability in the same breath. Harris gave him both. She trained for weeks to master the physicality. The way Selena moved wasn't acting. It was instinct, pure survival mode. Every swing of her machete felt real because Harris made you believe she was fighting for something that mattered. On set, Boyle barely had to direct her. She understood the assignment. In a world overrun by infected monsters, Selena was the thing keeping humanity alive. Not through speeches, through presence. Harris brought strength without coldness, fear without weakness. She made the apocalypse personal, and Boyle never forgot. One film, one warrior, one performance that proved energy isn't always chaos. Sometimes it's the quiet refusal to break. 6. Himesh Patel. Danny Boyle has a habit. He finds people no one's heard of and hands them the world.
Which is the two surviving Beatles and their widows and the two other widows.
In 2019, he did it again. Himesh Patel wasn't a movie star. He was a TV actor from EastEnders.
And the Moscow girls make me sing and shout. George is always on my.
But Boyle saw something others missed. A face people could trust. A voice that could carry Beatles songs without pretending to be a legend. A presence that felt like your friend, not a celebrity. Yesterday wasn't just a film, it was a test. Could an unknown actor anchor a global fantasy about waking up in a world where the Beatles never existed? Patel didn't just pass. He made it look easy. He learned guitar and piano for real, sang live on set. No auto-tune, no safety net, just him and the pressure of carrying a Danny Boyle film. 5. Robert Carlyle. Robert Carlyle doesn't act. He detonates, and Danny Boyle has always loved the explosion. When Carlyle stepped into Trainspotting as Begbie, he didn't just play a psychopath, he became one. Unpredictable, terrifying, the kind of danger you can't fake, the kind that makes everyone on set hold their breath. Boyle watched him work and knew he'd found something rare. Begbie wasn't written to be the most memorable character, but Carlyle made him impossible to forget. The pool cue scene, the way he could smile and threaten in the same second. Boyle gave him space to improvise, to find the madness in real time, and Carlyle never held back. He brought a working-class rage that felt lived in, not performed. Years later, Boyle brought him back to the beach. Different role, same intensity. Carlyle doesn't do it safely. He doesn't soften edges. He gives Boyle exactly what he needs. Chaos with a human face. Energy that can't be controlled, only aimed. Some actors bring light. Carlyle brings gasoline, and Boyle keeps reaching for the match. 4. James McAvoy. James McAvoy doesn't just act. He calculates. He thinks 3 steps ahead, playing characters who live inside their own heads. And Danny Boyle needed exactly that for Trance. A psychological thriller about memory, lies, and a mind unraveling in real time. It wasn't a role for someone who plays it safe. It required an actor who could hold contradictions. McAvoy made it look effortless. Boyle has always loved actors with intelligence. Not just talent, but real understanding of how scenes breathe and shift. McAvoy brought that precision to Trance. He played a man who couldn't trust his own memories, and he made the audience feel that confusion without losing them. Every choice landed exactly where it needed to. Boyle later said working with McAvoy felt like working with a partner. What made McAvoy different was his lack of ego. He didn't need to dominate every frame. He trusted Boyle's vision and filled the spaces others might have missed. The quiet moments, the pauses, the looks that said more than dialogue ever could. Not every actor can live inside confusion and make it compelling. McAvoy builds a home there, and Boyle recognized that instantly. 3. Dev Patel. Dev Patel had never been in a movie. He was 18, fresh off a British TV show, with no idea how to carry a film.
What do you mean, reality? Do you have any idea what...
Danny Boyle didn't care. He saw something the cameras loved, a face full of hope, eyes that could break your heart without saying a word. So he took the biggest risk of his career. He gave an unknown kid the lead role in Slumdog Millionaire. Boyle could have cast a star. He could have played it safe, but that's never been his style. He wanted someone real, someone who understood what it meant to fight for survival, to dream bigger than your circumstances. Patel brought that authenticity to Jamal. Every scene felt lived in, not performed. The love, the pain, the desperation, it was all there. On set, Boyle watched Patel grow from a nervous teenager into a leading man. He didn't have technique, he had instinct, and Boyle knows how to work with instinct. The result wasn't just a performance, it was a discovery. One film, one chance, one life changed forever. That's Boyle's legacy. 2. Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need big gestures or explosive moments. He just looks at you, and suddenly the world feels colder. Danny Boyle understood that power the moment he cast Murphy in 28 Days Later. This wasn't about finding an action hero. It was about finding someone who could carry terror in silence. Someone whose eyes could tell you everything about surviving hell. Murphy woke up alone in an empty London. No people, no sound. Just abandoned streets and the weight of extinction. Boyle needed an actor who could make that loneliness real without dialogue. Murphy delivered. He brought a vulnerability most actors hide. He wasn't trying to be tough. He was trying to stay human. And that made every moment hit harder. Years later, Boyle brought him back for Sunshine. Another existential nightmare. Another journey into darkness. Murphy became Boyle's go-to for roles requiring intensity without ego. He never took over scenes. He filled them quietly, carefully. Some actors scream to show fear. Murphy just stares, and somehow that's more terrifying. Boyle films every second of it. 1. Ewan McGregor. Before Trainspotting, Danny Boyle was just another director. Before Trainspotting, Ewan McGregor was just another actor.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I am. I really just don't want...
Then they found each other, and everything changed. McGregor didn't just play Mark Renton, he became the voice of a generation, funny, broken, desperate, alive. He gave Boyle the performance that launched both their careers into the stratosphere. 3 films together, Trainspotting, A Life Less Ordinary, The Beach. Each one showed a different side of McGregor. Boyle trusted him with everything. The comedy, the darkness, the chaos. And McGregor never flinched. Their chemistry was electric. Then something broke. An argument. A casting choice. 20 years of silence. In 2017, they reunited for T2 Trainspotting. Older, wiser, carrying 2 decades of regret. And the magic was still there. McGregor's performance wasn't just acting, it was a reunion. Forgiveness. Proof that some connections never die. Not just an actor. Family. Danny Boyle doesn't collect stars. He ignites them. He finds the raw, the hungry, the fearless. The ones willing to burn without knowing if they'll survive. These 10 gave him fire, and he gave them immortality. Frame by frame, pulse by pulse. Who's your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe for more cinema insights.